What's going on, guys? MariK here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the various game modes that are available in Star Wars Battlefront 2. In this video, we're going to be demonstrating how to play the Assault mode for space combat. Playing Assault is a lot like playing Conquest on the ground maps. The only difference is your reinforcement count doesn't go down. Instead, you have a point meter that goes up to 180, and the first team to reach 180 is the winning team. Now, there are different ways that you can obtain points in this game mode. The first way is going to be shooting down enemy fighters. The second way is going to be destroying escort ships. The third way is going to be destroying key portions of the enemy cruiser, such as the bridge, the shield generator, or the engines. And the fourth way is going to be by destroying those key parts of the enemy cruiser from the inside. When spawning, the player has the option of choosing either their faction's pilot or their faction's marine. The pilot carries a commando pistol, which can be upgraded via the Gunslinger award, the fusion cutter for repairing their ships, and health and ammo droids within the cruisers, and time bombs for destroying key parts of the inside of the cruiser. The Marines, on the other hand, have the blaster rifle, which again can be upgraded into the elite rifle via the frenzy medal. A rocket launcher, which I don't know if it can be upgraded into the homing rocket with the demolition medal. I'm not quite sure on that one. And then thermal detonators. If you're going to be flying, you're going to want to play as a pilot. And then if you're going to be infiltrating the enemy ship, then of course you're going to want to choose the Marine. Each faction has 4 different vehicles that they can choose from. You have the Interceptor class starfighter, your standard starfighter, your bomber class starfighter, and then you have your gunship. Your starfighter class vehicle is going to be your standard vehicle. It's going to have average armor. It's going to have average assault capabilities. It's going to be armed with your primary blaster cannons and missiles, and it's going to have about average speed. It's good at everything, but it's not great at anything. You can use this vehicle to take out enemy starfighters, and you can use it to assault the escort ships, but it's not going to be the best vehicle to use when taking on the capital ships. The Interceptor class starfighter, on the other hand, is great for dogfights with enemy starfighters. It is faster, it's more nimble, it has a higher output with its blaster cannons, it has more missiles in the missile launchers, so it is designed for taking out enemy interceptors, enemy starfighters, and enemy bombers. It's not the best at taking out enemy dropships, but it's not intended to. It's also piss poor for taking on the escort class ships or even the cruisers. So its main goal is to take out as many fighters as possible. The trade-off to it being as fast and nimble as it is that it doesn't have a whole lot of armor, so you're not going to be able to take as many hits, so you do have to be careful in those dogfight engagements. You've got your evade options. You can barrel roll to the left, to the right, up, down, and if you double tap the evade button and hit whatever direction, you will actually turn around in the opposite direction. This is a great way for dodging incoming missiles, as they will whoosh right past you and then they will no longer be tracking you. Then you have the bomber class starfighter. This is going to be your main vehicle for assaulting the capital ships as well as taking out the escort ships. Now, the escort ships don't really do anything. They can shoot at you and other starfighters, but for the most part they're just there as another objective. You can destroy them, which will increase your faction's point total, and playing as the bomber, that's kind of one of your main objectives. The other objective is going to be taking out the cruisers' shields and then attacking those main points, being things like the bridge, the shield generator, life support, the engines. But I don't recommend using the bomber for dogfights. The main cannon shoots really slow. It does do a lot of damage, so you can use it to take out starfighters and infantry. So you can use it to take out starfighters and interceptors very easily, but your secondary fire is the bombs that you're dropping either on cruisers or on the escort ships, and you're not going to be able to really use them on enemy starfighters, though if you manage to land a lucky hit, that'd be pretty impressive. Then finally we have the drop ships for each faction. These are going to be heavily armored, very slow to move, very slow to turn, they're awful to try and use outside of just dropping off enemy units. The best thing about them is that you can carry up to 5 other allies along with you to take into the enemy cruiser and use the dropship as not only a spawn point, but just as a vehicle to get other players or AI units into the enemy's cruiser to be able to attack their vital stations from inside. This is better done with the Marine than it is with the pilot. The pilot will help your survivability. You're not going to take enough damage before you get over there. Unless the enemy team has a complete group of pilots that are just focusing in on you, I don't think it's possible. It's definitely not possible for the AI to shoot you down before you get over there. It's really fun to be able to fly as a gunship, especially for the Republic. You get the LAAT, which is one of my favorite starships, but it just doesn't do a lot of damage. It's not great for dogfights. It's barely okay for attacking escort ships, and it might be a little alright for taking on the cruisers, but you're so slow, it's so hard to maneuver with that ship, and you have limited rockets, so you'll just be stuck using your shitty old forward cannons, which aren't the best. You do have other weapons for the different positions on the ship, but it's not really a coordinated effort when it's with the AI, and if you're coordinating an effort with other players, just get in the enemy's cruiser and take it down from the inside. My personal favorite for the Republic specifically is Felucia, because you actually get an extra bomber and an extra gunship, so you can take more players into the enemy faction's cruiser. I usually try to stay below the banking clan ships so that their cannons can't really touch you. It's not really worth trying to damage them. I mean, you can. In this particular case, it might actually be better to just take out that... There we go. To take out the Starfighter. I think the Starfighter actually took itself out since we don't have the points for it. Just try and stay under the escort ships because they can do some damage to you. It's really not going to be enough, but I wouldn't... You know, no point in letting them shoot at you regardless, right? You can take out the cannons on the sides of the hangar bay. I usually try to slow up when I'm flying into the enemy hangar, just because flying is, it's fun, but it's not super great. I also want to make sure I don't hit any ships that are trying to take off. You can blow up this here. This is the auto turret mainframe. This is what spawns auto turrets in the ship. So if you get rid of this, then they can't really do anything to you. In here you have life support. Life support is another one of the parts of the ship that you want to destroy. You can't destroy every part from the inside, which is kind of a shame. Like, you can't destroy the bridge. You can't... I don't remember what the other part is you can't take out. But you have 3 parts you can destroy. That we just destroyed was the life support. We're going to go over here, get more ammo. As you can see, just by doing what we've already been doing, we have risen our team's points all the way up to 64 compared to the enemy faction's 19. So I feel like it's much more effective this way. It's obviously fun to play, you know, in Starfighters, but this is the method that does the most as far as points on the ship. Then you've got the engine cooling tanks. You can take out the engines from the outside as well, but again, this is... I don't even know if I'd say this is a lot easier, because I feel like I often end up running out of ammo before I fully destroy the engines from the inside, whereas on the outside it's just a couple passes with the bomber or even the Starfighter class, and then you can take it out no problem. I mean, I'll just sit here and pick out the rest of it with the damn blaster rifle. It's really fun to have a unit that has a blaster rifle and then a rocket launcher, but I think you can only carry four rockets with it, so... And then we have the shield generator here. I don't know where you see the health bar on it, though. Not that you really need to. You can kind of tell from the fire and everything else around it that it's getting broken. And right there in the middle. And there go the shields. See, now we're at 100 out of 180. One strategy would be to have somebody on your team take your faction's dropship, fly it into the enemy hangar, and have nobody else spawn until that dropship lands in the hangar. You could have a team get into the dropship if you were planning to use any of the weapons on it, but depending on which faction you're playing, they can hold different amounts of troops in each dropship. So when you take your dropship and land it in the enemy cruiser, it becomes a spawn point. So what you do is you fly that dropship into the cruiser, land, have everybody else on your team now spawn as, say, Marines at that dropship, and then you can just take the inside of the ship by storm. From the inside of the cruiser, your team can destroy up to the 3 of the main targets, those being the shield generator, the engines, and the life support. Once those 3 are destroyed, you stay in the enemy cruiser and just kill enemies as they spawn. You do earn points for each of those units that are killed. It might be a little bit slower that way depending on how many spawn, but as it is their only spawn point, unless they happen to do the same thing and get a dropship into your faction's cruiser, then you can kind of just sit and just tear the rest of the ship apart, destroy every fighter before it launches, kill every AI or enemy player as they spawn. It's really chaotic, and it's really just a goofy way to play. Just have everybody spawn at that one gunship and just flood the enemy cruiser with enemy units. It's a fun strategy to play, but I don't know how well it would work in practice online. So that's going to be it for our demonstration of how to play the assault mode in space combat. It's very similar to Conquest, but with different objectives outside of the killing your enemies. I personally enjoy playing as a starfighter. The dogfights can be fun, flying around is fun, but I hate that vulnerability of being in a vehicle where I just don't have a lot of control, and sometimes, especially when you're playing as the interceptor, once you've got a rocket locked onto you, if you can't get away from it, you're just done. It's a lot of fun to just fly a dropship into the enemy cruiser and take out some of their systems from the inside. But once you've done that, it's not enough points to get victory, so you either have to leave anyways and still do fighter combat, or you just stay in the cruiser and just start killing enemies as they spawn. Either option can be pretty fun, but for me, because space combat, while the maps are technically different because of the different positions of the cruisers and the escort ships, it is a lot more samey than getting to play on any of the other 22 different maps. So it's not as fun to play for long periods of time compared to just playing Conquest on the ground maps. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection comes out in just 2 weeks, so we hope to see you on the Battlefront.